Donald Trump is blinking. Apparently, he is in denial as Iran has launched missiles and drones at the United Arab Emirates, at their port city of Fujairah, as well as hitting a South Korean cargo ship, as well as a United Arab Emirates cargo ship as well. Now, Donald Trump is pretending like this did not happen and that his so-called Project Freedom is going perfectly. Now, Donald Trump claimed in a social media post that he was going to be escorting ships in the Strait of Hormuz and that Navy ships were heading into the Strait of Hormuz, which caused an escalatory response from Iran. In addition to what I just stated happened, Iran also launched warning strikes at the U.S. Navy ships, which stopped going into the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has launched a number of other ballistic missiles, as well as drone strikes in the direction of the United Arab Emirates, and specifically the strike that hit the port city of Fujairah is significant. This Fujairah port is one of the areas that the UAE has been using in order to try to get around the Strait of Hormuz closure by Iran and routing oil through this port and these pipes to go around the Strait of Hormuz. So with clear escalation happening, with Iran striking and successfully hitting these targets, here's what Donald Trump's response was, because Donald Trump just wants to pretend his Navy blockade is working perfectly and things are great. And meanwhile, the markets are responding horribly to what's taking place right now. This blockade was clearly an escalation trap from the outset. Here's what Trump just posted. Iran has taken some shots at unrelated nations with respect to the ship movement, Project Freedom, including a South Korean cargo ship. Perhaps it's time for South Korea to come and join the mission. We've shot down 7 small boats, or as they like to call them, fast boats. It's all they have left. Other than the South Korean ship, there has been at this moment no damage going through the strait. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Kane, will have a news conference tomorrow morning. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump. And then Trump gave a call to Jonathan Karl, an ABC reporter, to try to also claim that everything's going fine. This is exactly what was expected. So Donald Trump calls Jonathan Karl. Let me just talk to you about what Karl posts. In a phone conversations a short while ago, Trump stopped short of saying Iran has violated the ceasefire. Regarding the Iranian drone and missile attacks on UAE today, Trump said they were shot down for the most part. One got through, not huge damage. Regarding the Iranian attack on a South Korean ship, quote, "We're going to look into it," Trump said. "Shots were fired at a South Korean ship, and I think South Korea should take some action." This was a South Korean ship riding by itself. It was not an escorted ship. There are no escorted ships. You're making this all up. Do you realize how deranged this is making the United States look right now? This Project Freedom is a complete and utter farce. And all it has done is it's caused an escalation. And now Trump has blinked yet again. And he's saying these are unrelated nations, as though he doesn't care about the UAE or he doesn't care about South Korea. I think that's very telling right there. You take a look right here at some of the satellite data that's coming in right now. This Fujairah fire from the Iranian attack is at over 13 gigawatts of thermal radiative power across 3 detection points. What that means, this is a far larger missile strike on this facility than what took place on March 9th, when people were saying, wow, that was a pretty big strike of that UAE port. Now, take a look right here again. The facts don't lie. No one is even attempting to leave the Strait of Hormuz right now. There is no Project Freedom. Trump is making this all up. Now, here's what a source close to Iran's parliament leader, MB Ghalibaf, says. Attacks on the UAE have begun from multiple fronts and are ongoing. Then one of the IRGC spokespeople posted, the element of surprise is no longer a secret. It has become a reality knocking at our doors, one of the Iran military spokespeople says. Expect an earthquake that will wipe out years of arrogance in a matter of hours. Tonight, perhaps, a new chapter of power will unfold, one the adversaries have never witnessed before. Okay, remember earlier today what Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said, or as we call him, Baghdad Bessent. Here's what Bessent said earlier. Play this clip.
Attacks from Iran has closed the strait. We are reopening it. So I would urge the Chinese to join us in supporting this international operation. You know, there are things moving through the UN that China and Russia have blocked. So, you know, if they want to be good global citizens, join at the UN.
Right. And then Donald Trump called up state regime media, which calls itself Fox. And Trump says that the naval blockade is the greatest military maneuver in history by the United States. Do you realize how much this harms our credibility? You're saying a blockade of Iran's blockade and closure of the Strait of Hormuz is the greatest American military maneuver in history. By the way, the U.S. blockade has been evaded on multiple occasions, and Iran's been able to get around it going through the territorial shores of Pakistan. And also Pakistan opened up a number of routes in order for Iran to ship its oil on land. And also, if the plan was to open the Strait of Hormuz, putting a blockade on a blockade, you think that's a brilliant military maneuver? And didn't you say now, about 10 days ago, that Iran's pipes were going to burst because they were filled with so much pressure? Oh yeah, that didn't happen. None of the things that Donald Trump says happened. But here's what he told state regime media. Play this clip.
Now, I also asked President Trump about the possibility of negotiations with Iran succeeding. He said the Iranians are being far more malleable than they were being in the past, showing flexibility given the U.S. pressure that continues as part of the American blockade of Iranian ports. President Trump called that blockade the greatest military maneuver in history.
Folks, let's just bring back again so you can see for yourself what this Fujairah fire looks like. Here's an image of the Fujairah fire. Let's just play this clip so you can hear and see what's going on for yourself. Let's play it. Now, Professor Morandi, one of Iran's kind of foremost intellectuals who travels with the Iran negotiating team, and he's as close to leadership as you get. Here's what he says. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan are assisting the Trump regime and by extension Netanyahu in preparing for an imminent major assault against the Iranian people. This is one act of treachery too many. The people of Iran will be unforgiving. Iran social media posting images like this of Donald Trump. Rest in peace, as in rest in pieces. A photo of Trump and Netanyahu saying, the American people made the greatest mistake in history by electing a president who prioritizes Israel interests. Then an Iranian social media account posts the following. A U.S. official says the rules of engagement for U.S. forces in the region have been changed. And Iran says, come closer, Donald. We are ready. Come closer. We are ready. Then they write, one who sits in a glass tower should not throw stones. In response to Donald Trump, saying that we shot down 7 small boats. Iran denies that any small boats have been shot, says this is yet another lie by Donald Trump. And then Iran's social media accounts say Project Freedom without Iran's consent and participation is a failed project. You also had Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent earlier this morning saying Iran is starting to believe its own propaganda. Let's play this clip.
Yeah, so let's level set here. I think the Iranians are starting to believe their own propaganda. And just to be clear, the leadership is hunkered down in bunkers all over the country. And I don't think they know what's going on. But what is going on is that they're reduced. Their navy is not a navy anymore. It's a band of pirates. They are trying to cut off international freedom of navigation through the Strait of Hormuz, and the U.S. is opening that up. This is a humanitarian effort.
And a reminder that earlier today, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent called upon the Chinese, he called upon China to help the United States in Project Freedom. China's helping Iran, you moron. Like, do you not... You think that Xi Jinping is buds with Donald Trump? He's Baghdad Bessent. Here, let's play this clip right here.
Attacks from Iran has closed the strait. We are reopening it. So I would urge the Chinese to join us in supporting this international operation. There are things moving through the UN that China and Russia have blocked. So, if they want to be good global citizens, join at the UN.
When this summit was originally scheduled, we were not at war with Iran, and now we are, and it was punted about a month's time. What would be your expectation from a summit in Beijing next week?
I think the expectation is it will be a chance for President Trump and Xi Jinping to exchange views in person. The strength of the relationship is the relationship between the two leaders. In Busan, South Korea, in October, we established a consensus, and the Vice Premier, Ho Lee-Fung, and I are charged with implementing that on the economic side. The Secretary Rubio and their Foreign Secretary, on the political side. So I think we would push forward the consensus from Korea and also keep the relationship stable. We've had great stability in the relationship. And again, that comes from the two leaders having great respect for each other.
If I could ask.
We also learned that there are 3 injuries in the in the strike of the UAE Fujairah port. 3 people appearing to be of Indian nationality from India were injured. We'll keep you posted more as we learn more here on the MeidasTouch Network, but that's what we got for now. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.